Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining me again. This is Brandon Day with Extra Innings Baseball. I got my good friend and Cincinnati Reds pitcher, Michael Lorenzen, joining us today. How you doing, Mike?
Good, man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Good. I appreciate it. So, I gave you a little introduction before, but the whole purpose of this thing here is to help some athletes get some clarity on their road and their vision for playing baseball.
Yeah.
Really understanding what they're doing, maybe what they should be doing, or different tools and tricks. A professional baseball player like yourself is using to have success. And I thought, there's no better person to shed some light on that than a guy who is extremely successful at the high school level, got to play at one of the premier colleges at Cal State Fullerton, and then got an opportunity again to play professional baseball and is doing a dang good job of that. So, before we get started, give me a little insight. How's spring training going? How are you feeling?
Yeah, man. Spring training's good. We're having later days because we're playing a lot of night games, so
Yeah.
that's a little different. Which I don't care. I'm here to play baseball, so
Yeah.
but I'm enjoying it. Body's feeling okay. Taking it a little slower than normal because this year I'm starting, so I'm going to be throwing a lot more innings this year. Obviously a lot less games, but a lot more innings. So I've just wanted to ease into, the season and make sure that my arm's dialed in. So it's going good though.
Yeah, so that's what that transition's like, right? You're going from a role where you're coming in super intense situations to now a role where there's got to be some longevity. You're prepared to face hitters multiple times throughout a lineup. What in preparation are you doing to help make that transition as smooth as possible?
I kind of experimented with some things last year, and really the preparation is um it's a lot better because I do a lot of preparing, and obviously when for a personality that likes to prepare, it's a lot easier to know, okay, well, I'm throwing Friday. I have 3 days to figure out exactly what I want to do by the time Friday comes. I know exactly who I'm facing. I know exactly what they're doing. I know I'm starting the game, and that's my day. So it's way easier to prepare for that versus, literally in the bullpen. You don't know what the manager's thinking. You don't know exactly when you're going to go in. If you have some aches and pains, you have about 10 minutes to figure them out before you're in a game. So like there's a lot. For me, the starting life is going to be a lot more simple for my mindset and just the way I like to prepare, and knowing exactly when I'm going to go, and then getting those 4 days in between to rest, recover, and prepare for the next one. It's going to be way better for my personality.
Awesome, man. I love it. I personally, and in biased opinion, I know you're going to succeed, just because, you've always been that guy that kind of just gets the job done no matter what. You find a way to get it done. So I know you're going to do a great job with that. So excited to see you throw multiple innings this year for sure.
Thanks.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know who you are, again, in Major League Baseball, I would have to say you're a pretty polarizing figure. I talk to my travel ball guys, I talk to my high school guys, and I say the name Michael Lorenzen. People usually know, but this is for the viewers maybe who don't know who you are, and giving you a little deeper view. You have that video out on YouTube, The Obsession, Michael Lorenzen. Yeah. Search it up. That was done by Rick J. Lee. That was... Yep. Awesome, man. That was a great inside view. You're a part of this group of Major League Baseball players who are really starting to give fans, hopeful players, this insight and introspection into who people are as, beyond the baseball player. Why are you doing that?
Yeah, I grew up, with YouTube. I think our childhood YouTube was like a thing, and so really, you're able to watch interviews, and you didn't just have to rely on TV. You could go back and watch, different things. And so that's where I kind of developed connections with certain athletes and followed them more and more. And so obviously growing up in that, it's going to be more natural for me to like think that that's my normal. So really that's why I do it. It's my normal to me, and I want to connect with kids the way other athletes were able to connect with me, and it's just way easier in today's today's world. It really doesn't take much effort at all. And so that's why I like it. And that's where baseball needs to shift. And it is shifting into, guys that I'm totally okay with guys who want to be private. Totally fine. Totally fine. But we also, in the past, it's been looked down upon with guys who don't want to be private, want to be out there and want to really grow the game and want to let people know who they are. And so I think we're getting over that to where, it's not looked down upon. I just think whatever your personality type is, that should be welcomed, within the game. And if you want to be, put out YouTube videos for kids to be able to watch and stuff like that, like more power to you. If you don't, more power to you too. But we all need to be doing what our heart and minds want to do.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I truly enjoy it because again, you have very little access to some of these guys sometimes. So to get a deeper view is pretty sweet. All right, so the next thing I want to talk to you about, I talk to my players about this all the time, man, is creating an identity. Can you think back of your earliest age when you started creating your baseball identity? You know, what it's composed of, what you want to be seen as. Give me a little glimpse at that.
Yeah, man. I just remember, growing up, like I was gonna play a game no matter what, and I wanted to be in the game, and there wasn't a situation where it didn't matter how sick I was, it didn't matter how terrible I felt. Like, I remember having like 12 blisters on my right hand because I was hitting with no batting gloves. For really my entire childhood up until high school, I would hit without batting gloves, and I'd have so many blisters on my hand. But I would, you know, when coach asked me to pitch, like I want to pitch. It hurt to throw every single ball, but like that's kind of who I am and want to be. It's more of just like a ball player who loves to play the game of baseball. And no matter the situation, no matter who we're playing, like I'm going to go out there and give it everything that I have. And that's just, I think people see that within me, like, the coaching staff, me asking them, hey, you need me to play outfield, I'm ready to roll. Like, you need me to pitch here, I'm ready to roll. You need me to, hit, I'm ready to roll. Like, I just love the game. And so that's kind of what I want to, give off of, like someone who loves the game and is a gamer and is ready to show up. Literally, I get a call right now and from David Bell and ask me if I can pitch, in 30 minutes, I'd be there right now ready to pitch, like
Absolutely. No,
that,
that's awesome, man. Yeah, and I knew the answer to that question before I asked it. Obviously, we played high school baseball together, and I was thinking back to this funny story. So I think it was my junior year. You were a freshman, and the first time I ever met you would have been, I think it was a scrimmage or a fall ball game at Lucerna. Okay. And I remember you coming up, rolling up to the game, and Coach Sakota's got you hitting fifth. I'm like, dude, who is this guy? He is a freshman. He's a tiny guy. I remember, laughing with some of the other guys. I was like, who is this guy? And I think it literally took one at bat for me to realize, like, holy cow, this dude is the real deal. Like, and it wasn't the performance. I mean, I think you smoked a double, but it wasn't the performance aspect of this. It was the way you carried yourself. It is what you gave off. It's how you presented yourself to the rest of the team, and that's infectious. And again, I talk to players about that all the time, having that ability to create an identity, and how do you want to be perceived by others? And I think that was a great example of what you said, and I know that to be true. So thanks for sharing that.
yeah. One more thing. It's one of those things, like if you're gonna, how are you willing to go down? How are you willing to lose? And like for me on the mound, I think about like pitching wise, strictly pitching. It's like my identity when I'm pitching is like pure attack. Like I'm attacking you. And if you get me, I'm okay with that. I'm willing to go down as long as I'm attacking. But if you see me trying to pitch like Greg Maddux out there and I go down, like that to me haunts me. So like, how are you, if everything fails, how, what's your approach that you're willing to say, okay, if I do it this way and I fail, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yep. That's a great point. I mean, I correlate that a lot. I mean, one of my biggest fears in high school and college was striking out on a fastball away 0-2. I wasn't willing to go down like that, and I talked to hitters a lot about that too, and just that grinder mentality. So yeah, I mean, that's huge. So thank you for sharing that. I only got a couple more for you here, and then I'll let you run. But this next part is talking about being a good teammate. Man, there's so much, players get caught up in, everything, all the exit velocity, getting recruited. There's so many distractions out there for high school players, for college guys, that they forget about a tool. I call it a tool. It's being a good teammate. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, how you use that at the big league level, the college level. What's that all about?
Yeah, I think at, the big league level, a lot of it is guys have families, guys, have their own lives, and taking the time to get to know about them and getting to know about their families, about their upbringing. And, we've all come from different backgrounds, some worse than others. And just when you're able to make a connection like that, you have to look at that as not a waste of time, but it's very valuable, and it's very, you have to look at it, like you said, as a tool. Like it's it's something that you should desire to work at. It's not something that's useless. Yeah, you may not see it on a field, there's no stat to show it, but it is insanely valuable, because a lot of the time it will show up in the win-loss record, depending on how close that team is. And so that's one thing where, asking certain teammates, hey, how many brothers you got? How old are they? Oh, where are you from? What school do you go to? What is this? And like really getting, you skateboard? No. Oh, I do. Do you do this? And like getting those common things, like that's insanely important. All the other stuff is really important as well, the exit velocity and learning more about yourself. But you have to look at, sitting down and having conversations with teammates is not just a waste of time. Like that's productive time for you, for your teammates, for your relationships. And yeah, man, I think that's obviously, I'm telling you my approach to it. And so, you got to you have to, when you're able to flip in your mind, and you're able to look at it from that way, rather than it's just sitting down wasting time. It's like, no, you're getting to know your teammate and you're growing closer together. You're growing that bond together. Then I think more guys will be interested to do it.
Yeah, and I wanted to tell another quick teammate story again about you, that I'll see if you can recall this one here. So again, I led you into teammate because I knew you were a great teammate. Thinking back to my senior year, which would have been your sophomore year in high school, we were playing somewhere out in West Los Angeles, maybe not Bellflower, but somewhere in that area. And it was the bottom of the 7th inning. It was a tie game. Ball hit to the second baseman. He fires home. To me, we get caught in a rundown between third and home. I was catching. And so I start this rundown. I'm here. I go with a nice solid pump fake. Ball falls out of my hand, hits off my shoe, rolls off a game-winning run where I think we get bounced in the first round of CIF. That was obviously my senior year. I was extremely emotional. And man, I just remember dropping to my knees, and the first person I saw was you. You came up to me, put your arm around me, just said, "Hey man, it's going to be okay." You just something small like that, I never forget. And I share, that story with other teammates, because it was bigger than the game. I mean, you could have been mad, you could have been, kicking me because we just lost the game, but you were there for me. So that was a pretty cool one.
Yeah, man. I think me and you used to get after it all the time together. Used to go to the gym and literally hit. We had the keys to the field, so we would hit as much as we could. So like, for when I fail, I want my teammates to be able to trust that it's not because of lack of effort. And same with you, like when everyone knows, like, dude, this guy didn't go up there, lackadaisically not trying and mess up. Like we're all going to make mistakes. It's just the mistakes that are made when there's a sense of carelessness, that you're like, man, that mistake probably wouldn't have been made if you just gave it a little more attention to detail. But like, guys like me and you, it's like like I said, you're not going to fail because of lack of effort. Like
Sure.
that's just not the case. So that's where, go over and like, hey, bro, like I feel just as bad. I feel just as bad as you do because I know how hard you work, man.
Yep, that's awesome. So, okay, I got two more. Sorry, I lied to you. Two more quick ones here. Very surface level because I know this can get extremely deep. The mental game of baseball. I want to know what you value the importance of the mental game of baseball, and maybe one or two things you do to that you know maybe rely on or pull from every single day to make you successful in baseball.
All right. Very surface level.
Yeah, it can go forever, right? I mean, I know
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
into
yeah.
that.
So I would say one would be like we love to create situations in our own mind. So say like, I'm pitching and it's big situation and in my mind like it's hard not to picture certain events happening. And so being able to like when I'm throwing a 2-0 fastball in a big situation, being able to see it like successfully happening rather than the flip side of like, oh, what if I give up a double? It's like, well, what if, you jam them and get a double play? Like,
Right.
so that positive self-talk of like always believing things are going to go your way, because a lot of the times when you're operating out of fear in a sense of like you don't want to fail, that's when you see players shell up and like they're not expressing who they really are as a player. They're not expressing their full potential. So for me, I always tell people to express your full potential, you have to have zero fear of failure. Like one of my favorite quotes is, show me someone who's afraid to look bad and I'll show you someone who can be beat every single time. Because if you're afraid to look bad and look foolish and fail, like you're literally you're playing, that's how you're going to play, that's how you're going to perform. But if your mindset is like, I'm going to dominate, like and you're seeing good things no matter what, like you visualize good things and like you're going to operate a lot more freely and you're going to like, that's how you get your full potential to come out. And of course, like you're going to get kicked in the face,
Yeah.
but that's where like when things are going rough, that's where that challenge gets even more exciting of like, okay, I just gave up a 2-run homer in a big situation. Can I still see good things happening in my mind? You know what I mean? Rather than like, moping around. It's like, you got to look at that as another challenge to yourself. Just like, getting your exit velocity to where you want to be. It's like, it's the same exact thing. It's another challenge. It's another tool of no matter how bad it gets, can I still see good things happening and visualize good things happening?
That's it. I was hoping you would go there. Visualization. I mean, that's something that's huge. I mean, visualization, meditation, somewhere along those same realms. I think is huge for just calming the mind and creating that little bit of inner peace. So I wasn't surprised you went there. But my last one for you here. So this is extremely important. I talk about with players as well is support system. Baseball can be one of those games that's mind numbing and drive you crazy when you're maybe struggling. Who's your support system you lean on when you're going through tough times, going through good times, who you talk to the game about? Give me all that.
Man, my wife, number one, is like so the stuff that I break down with her is pretty insane. Like the stuff that's going on in my head, it's like, Cass, I got to get this out just so I'm either excited about it or I'm struggling with like what's going on. And the way like she knows me so well with how much I speak with her and share with her, like she's able to get me right all the time. So it's like, it's not just me out there. It's literally, she's like my best coach. It's pretty crazy. Um, so, when things are good or going rough, it's like, she's there for me. And then I have also like, my agency that I'm with is another huge thing. Like, talking to my agent daily, when going through their good or a rough time, it's like having people to celebrate, good times with is really important, and having people to be there for you when it's going rough, and like them to like still be on your side and pushing you and like almost like making excuses for you and like telling you, even though you're you're not
Yeah.
doing good at all. You're
Yep. There you go.
absolutely terrible at the time. It's like my agent will make up excuses for me as to why, no, you're fine. It's like I don't have to make those excuses up. It's him that's making them for me. So he's making me feel better.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And tell me more too. So I'm always following you on Instagram. I see in the stories talking about Cassie and your support system. I always see some pretty good meals on the table. Tell me a little bit about that and your diet and how you're eating.
Yeah, so I'm gluten-free, dairy-free, all whole food, whole organic food. So that's kind of my Cassie is she's getting her master's in human nutrition
Oh,
and functional medicine. So she's like she gets it. So she handles all that for me. And really, so a lot of the time, my whole, in high school too, it's like eat as much as you can, get big, get big, get big, eat as much as you can. And so there's a certain point in time where like you're actually aging yourself the more that you eat and internally and all that stuff. So I've cut back on the eating a ton, and like I said, all natural, organic stuff. And really, it's like I feel no different than when I felt when I was, 21, 22 years old. And
yeah.
it's 100% the nutrition and hydration differences in that and how I feel.
Okay, very good. So I didn't tell you about this last part. I got 3 little rapid fire questions for you.
Oh, yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So okay, and it's going to be called either Lorenz yes or Lorenz no. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the first one. It'll either be a Lorenz yes or a Lorenz no.
So that's
So
all I got to say. Lorenz yes or Lorenz
that's
no?
correct. Yep. So singing in the shower, Lorenz yes or Lorenz no.
Lorenz yes, for sure.
Okay, very good. Any music in particular or
If I
songs
go
that
in
you
the
can think
shower,
of?
it's probably gonna be like some country or something because
Okay.
that's like the easiest thing to say.
Absolutely. Everyone sounds great. So I think we kind of answered this one. Fast food, Lorenz yes or Lorenz no. Cheat days, Lorenz no.
No chance.
Okay, very good, very good. And last one for you, dancing, Lorenz yes or Lorenz no.
Lorenz yes.
Yeah, okay. Occasionally at a wedding or the proper event, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe in the kitchen with the wife.
Awesome. That's outstanding. Okay, well, before we go, do you have any tips, high school, college guys right now for them about to get their season started? Any quick little snippet for them that they could take and use for this year?
Yeah, I mean, something that like I like to tell kids that age is going to be, just stay consistent and stay disciplined. And like a lot of, me and you have seen it plenty of times where as you get older, people get distracted and people like, the path is straight and you see guys fall off that path as time goes on, guys getting into certain things and develop different habits, just different stuff, whatever it may be, pulls their time away from the game. And I always thought like, if I just stayed consistent, if I just keep showing up, I'll continue to move forward while other guys fall off the wayside. And it's like, that's going to be kind of what I leave this with is the more consistent you are at showing up and doing the work, the more consistent you are at playing games and getting after it. Like you're just putting yourself in a better situation and you're giving yourself better odds than everyone else, because literally 90% of everyone else ends up getting distracted at one point in their career, whether you make it to college and then there's other guys that fall off, and then you make it to pro ball and then other guys start falling off. You make it to the big leagues and you see other guys start falling off. So you just got to keep moving forward and stay consistent with it.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for your time. You're more than generous. Good luck this season. I'll be checking in with you soon, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.